All right, not sure how this is going to go. We'll just give it a shot. Do a little strength session. I'm doing it after dinner. Not the ideal time, right before I'm going to be going to bed. Oh well, here we go.
Purple Patch athletes, welcome. Coach Marcia here with another lifting session for you. This one is called May the Force Be With You. So another heavy lifting session where today we're working on our main lift, which is going to be the power clean. So to think about power is to think about speed. And in regards to our main lift, which is the power clean, we're going to focus on how quickly we can generate that force in a short amount of time. So for the tools that you will need to get this workout done, you will need a bench we'll be using later on in the workout. I have these loop bands, and for this I'm using the 1/4-inch loop band. And they come in a couple different thicknesses. I have the red and the blue one, just for reference. I am using a barbell today, and I have my weight plates out. If you do not have a barbell, and if it's your first time doing the power clean, then I will show you options, starting from the easiest and then progressing up from there. So we'll start with a medicine ball. So if you have a medicine ball that you would like to use, we can use that to learn our power clean. You can also use a kettlebell to learn it. And then we'll move up to the barbell if you feel confident in your movement. Lastly, I have dumbbells to work with today. And before we get into our workout, we always start with our dynamic warm-up. And for that, we'll go with 4 different movements, and we will do them for 1 minute apiece. So we're going to go ahead and start on the ground, actually, on all fours to start. And then from there, I'll get my left leg out to the side, and then I'll go with my adductor rocks here. So I'm going to feel that stretch on the side of the leg, that straight right through the groin, inner thigh area. So we'll spend 30 seconds on one side, and then we'll go into 30 seconds on our other side. I'll fit in one more here, and then I'll take it to the other side. So one leg out straight. I have my toes tucked on the foot that's grounded behind me. And then I'm also using my hands to help shift my weight back. So you're in charge of how much you want to feel that stretch. We have 10 seconds left, and we'll allow a couple seconds in between each movement, just a transition. So I'll try and fit in 2 more here. I'll go one last one, and we'll take it into our plank position. I'll show you this from the side. We'll get 1 foot forward. We'll go with our runner's lunge with ankle circles, where we'll go for 30 seconds each side. We'll go for that runner's lunge here. Then you can also reverse that circle. And then I'm going to drop my back knee here and then just turn this into lizard stretch. I'm going to feel that stretch through my psoas of the leg that's back. And a couple more seconds. We have 3, 2, 1, and then reset your hand, reset the foot, and then take it to the other side, starting with our ankle circles. Just getting mobility through our ankle there. And then I'm going to reverse the direction of my circle. And then lastly, I'll drop my back knee and then just work on feeling that stretch right through the front of the hip. Just drawing my hips forward. We'll stay here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and good. From there, we'll go into our cat-cow. So on all fours again, toes tucked in the back. And then we're going to go ahead and round towards the sky and then pull our belly button down to the floor. So we're doing the cat-cow for our pull back here. My shoulders are staying away from my ears. Since we are here for 1 minute, after 30 seconds, I'll shift my butt back towards my heels, and then we'll work on just isolating that mobility through the lower back. So I'll fit in one more, and then I'll shift my weight back, and then from there, smaller movement, just isolating the lower back. So that first version of it, got our whole spine moving. Now we're just working through that lumbar spine. So it's smaller movement. Got another 10 seconds here. We'll fit in a few more. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll be on our feet to finish. And we'll start it off with some wrist extension. So go ahead. I'm going to take my left hand, and then I'm going to reach out. I'm going to use my opposite hand to bring my wrist into a little bit of extension. And then I'm going to switch. So that's about 5 on each. We are going to practice that power clean, and that requires wrist extension as we receive the barbell in that rack position. So we're warming up the wrists, and then from there we'll go with bear hugs. I'm just alternating my arms over and back, opening my chest. And then from there we'll go shoulder circles forward. We'll go 5 forward. And then let's take it for 5 back. And then let's tighten up those circles. We're going forward again, smaller circles this time. And then we'll take it in reverse. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1, and shake it out. So that was our dynamic warm-up. We're going into an activation round next. So for that, we'll get 2 movements, and they'll each be done for 45 seconds apiece. The next one you're going to do, you're just going to go for just a ground to overhead. So my fingertips touch the floor, and then I reach up into the air. So you'll join me now, 45 seconds there, and then we'll take it back down to the floor. So my squat stance here is a little bit wider than shoulder width. That way I can open up my hips a little bit more. And then I'm just getting my shoulders nice and warm as well. On the next round, I'll show you this from the side.
I got to start my watch.
Keep moving through this. We'll have a little bit of time in between to transition to the floor for our next movement. There's 3, 2, 1, and then I'll take it down to the floor. And then from here, I'm going into my push-up, modified push-up plus. So my hips are going to be forward to this modified push-up position. And then I'm going to drop my chest through, keeping my elbows straight, and then I'm going to push the ground away. Very important to keep the elbows straight as you do this. So the motion is just happening at the shoulders. During our workout, you'll see a version of this movement where we are in the full plank position. And then from there, I'm just going to go ahead and back my wrists up. And then again, I want to practice wrist extension. I'm just going to shift my weight forward and back over my hands. I'll be there about the next 10 seconds. And then we'll repeat that for one more round, starting with the ground to overhead. So we've got another 5 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then on the feet, and we have ground to overheads again. So reach it down and then up. So I'll show you this from the side. We are going to be moving weight from the ground today. And anytime we're picking anything up from the ground, we want to make sure we're in that flat back position. So we're not rounding, and what I mean by that, we're not rounded this way. Our shoulders are back. Our hips are back. And then at the top, I want to make sure I'm reaching up in the air. I'm trying not to hyperextend through the back to make that happen. I'm just getting a little bit of shoulder activation there as well. And then we take it back down to the floor. One last time here. So you'll start in your modified push-up position. So hips forward on this one. fingers are spreading the floor, and then go ahead and drop down. This is your modified push-up plus. You will see the push-up plus during the workout. And we're just getting that form down now. Halfway through, we'll turn this into our wrist stretch. So I'll go with another 3, 2, 1, and then I end up in this position, so hips over the knees again, shoulders over hands. And then from there, I'm just going to gradually rock forward, not forcing the movement at all, but just allowing a little bit of stretch through my wrists. And my hips dictate how much stretch I want to feel. We have 3, 2, 1, and good. So activation done. We are almost into the meat and potatoes of our workout, but very important we go over this first. We are lifting heavier, but you never want to compromise form when you're lifting. It's always important to learn the proper technique first. So when you're lifting heavy with good form, that's going to allow the muscles, that stimulus to change, but it's also a good challenge for our connective tissue and our joints as well to build resilience. So make sure you feel comfortable and confident with everything we're doing today. And I'll show you variations of our main lift. That'll help you do that. So before we get into our power clean tutorial, let's go over the breakdown of the workout. We'll have 3 different rounds of work. In round number 1, we will perform that for 4 sets. That will be our power clean paired with an active recovery. In round 2, we will perform that for 3 sets, and that will be a lower body movement paired with an upper back movement. And then same thing for round 3. We'll have a lower body movement paired with a shoulder movement. So that'll be for 3 sets there. Now let's get into our power clean tutorial. And when I learned the power clean, I learned it on a PVC pipe, so it's perfectly fine to go very light when you're learning this. In fact, it's advised to go light on this. So when you are picking up your medicine ball, and I'll start with that one because it's the easiest way to learn it, I'm focused on having vertical shins. So it's going to be a little bit different than the deadlift. The deadlift, you might see your hips a little bit higher. In this case, we want to keep the weight through our midfoot. We want vertical shins. So I'm going to have my chest a little bit more upright. So we'll break this down into 5 different steps. So step number 1, I'm going to go ahead, keeping my chest up, vertical shins, pushing through the midfoot, and I just stand up. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, I'm going to go ahead, same positioning, but now I take it into triple extension through the hips, the knees, and the ankles. That's a triple extension position. That's number 2. Number 3, we'll go into a front squat. So go ahead and get the med ball to your chest, and then we're working on just receiving that ball and then standing back up. That's step number 3. Step number 4, this is where we practice a very quick turnover. This is where that power comes into play. So from this position, I'm extended at my hips and knees. I'm going to focus on pulling the medicine ball up to my chest while I pull myself down quickly into my squat. So again, that looks like this. That was step number 4. And then number 5, we put it all together. So starting with that lift, that's going to be number 1. And then triple extension, dropping under, and then standing back up. So putting it all into one, we're going from this position, vertical shins, taking it up, and then catching it right there. The reason it's called a power clean is because anytime you're landing with the hips above 90 degrees, that's going to be that power position instead of the full squat. So in case I didn't do that, we'll do it one more time. Chest is up. I come all the way up on my toes, pull myself underneath, and I want to try and catch my hips above 90 degrees. All right, we're going to try it with the kettlebell next. Again, breaking it down into 5 different steps. Number 1, vertical shins, back is flat. I'm not overarched, but my chest is up. I'm going to drive through the floor and stand up. That's number 1. Number 2, we go into triple extension. That's number 2. Number 3, we practice our front squat. Going down and then back up. And then number 4, we practice pulling the kettlebell up towards our chest while we quickly drop under. So my hands are on top of the handles. When I drop under, they move to the sides. So I'll show you that. It's a little hand-eye coordination there. That's what makes this more difficult than the medicine ball. I'll show you that again. And then if we put it all together now, steps 1 through 4, catching with my hips above 90 degrees. So chest up, shoulders back, and then I catch. All right. So that is the version you can do with your kettlebell if you have that. And then lastly, we'll work through with our barbell. It's going to be the hardest one because that bar is right in front of us, as opposed to the last two implements where the weight was more between our legs. So for this, I'm going to come to about mid-shin because when I do pull, I'm going to have weights on the side. So I get my weight through my midfoot. I'm coming up. That's number 1. Number 2, I come up, and then I come into triple extension. Number 3, I'm going to go drop down into a partial squat. And then number 4, I'm going to go ahead. From this position, I drop under as quickly as possible, so aggressive turnover here. And that's where that wrist extension comes into play. I'll show you that again. I pull that bar up as I drop myself under. And then lastly, step number 5, we put it all together. I'm coming up, catching in that power position, standing up. All right, that was a 5-minute tutorial on that. We could spend an entire session doing it. If you need to watch it again, or if you have questions, please reach out, let me know. So we did it with the medicine ball, the kettlebell, and the barbell. So please find the version that works for you. I would recommend starting with the medicine ball or the kettlebell first. So again, it's here, come up, drop under, and catch. With the kettlebell, hands are tight, I come up and catch. And remember, with the kettlebell, hands start on top of the handle, you pull up, and then you quickly bring those hands to the outside of the bell. And then lastly, with our barbell, I'm going to show you that with weights on it. And I'll talk more about our first round of work. So our first round of work will be with this power clean. We're going for 4 sets of 5. If this is your first time seeing this video, this is the second time. You'll keep the same weight, but you'll add on another set, so you'll make it 5 sets of 5. This is your second time watching this video. So I have my barbell here with my weight plates. We'll pair this with an active recovery. And that active recovery will give us time to recover, as well as, if you'd like, it's time for you to switch out your weights. For the active recovery, the way it will look, we're going for a thread the needle, so reaching through my opposite hand, and then I'll take it into thoracic extension. And we'll alternate through that. So threading the needle, hand behind the head, coming into thoracic rotation and extension. So it'll be 45 seconds there, followed by about another 30 seconds to adjust your weights or your equipment if you'd like to do so. So again, this will be for 4 sets of 5 for our power clean. I'm going to start it off with my kettlebell friends. If you've got that at home, we'll do that together. All right, we've got a minute to do our 5 reps, starting right now. Go up, catch in power position, and then carefully set it back down. Reposition if you have to, up, and then catch. So this is a great movement for working on your pelvic floor mechanics, because you have to be able to decelerate that weight as it's coming down. We got one last one here for you. And that's my 5 right there. All right. If you're still moving through that, you have about 20 seconds left. On the next version, I'll use the medicine ball, and then I'll go to the barbell for the last one. Remember, Our active recovery will be 45 seconds long, starting with thread the needle and then right into our rotation. So go ahead and join me now for 45 seconds. Your other option is to just use this time to completely rest or to change your weight if you'd like to. We're just trying to release tension in our back and our neck with this one. I'm already sweating, so make sure you also have your water close by. We have another 5 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So you have 30 seconds left to get everything sorted. That's either changing your weight out, using different equipment. On this next one, I will use the medicine ball for my 5 reps. So this is a 20-pound medicine ball for reference. Again, you're trying to get that technique right. Perfectly fine to not use the barbell. So we're gonna go ahead in 3, 2, 1. I come up, I get my elbows underneath, I stand up. Set it down again, reposition, come up, quickly get under, and then back down. Reposition, catch, stand, set it back down. I've got 2 more. So I'm really focusing on driving down into the ground. It's really exploding on the way up, taking advantage of that vertical momentum. One last one here. And set that down. All right, you have another 20 seconds to complete your reps. Otherwise, take that break or make your way down to the floor with me for our thread the needle. We're here for 45 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1, and begin. So reach through, and then come up. I like to do this stretch when I've been sitting down for a little while, just to get some movement through my back. Sometimes when we sit for a while, our spines tend to stiffen up, so this is a good one. We're getting motion in both ways, both directions. So forward and then back. That's 3, 2, and 1. All right, this will be round number 3 of 4. And for this one, I will go with my barbell. So I've got my bar here, and then I'm going with 10 pounds on the side. Get ready to go. We have 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and you want to try and keep that barbell as close to your body as you can. I bumped the bar away from myself a little bit there, so you want to go straight up and then catch. Reposition, drive the ground away. Got 2 more. That one felt nice. Last one. And good. So practice as much as possible with this one. I felt like my first 3 reps there weren't as good as the last 2. So by the time I got to those last 2 reps on that set, definitely felt like I was in a better rhythm, better place. We'll go with our rotation, our thread the needle. So don't be hard on yourself if you feel like you don't have the proper technique yet. You can start with either a lighter load or a different implement from the barbell. And then even then, it takes a lot of practice for that to feel natural. So just stay consistent. And even within a set, just like I felt, it definitely got better as I went along. So that was the third set for me to find a good groove. Here's 3, 2, 1, and 30 seconds. Here's going crazy. All right, this will be the last set, best set. Final time here. And if this is your second time watching this video, you will go keep the same weight and go for 5 sets. This will be for the 4th set for me. I'm gonna keep the weight right here. I just wanna practice on just getting that form and technique right. So last set here of 5. I start in 3, 2, and 1. That's 4. Got my last one here. And 5. So as I'm going through that, I'm still going through the checklist in my head of the 5 different key points that I split up the movement
Sure.
in my head, starting with
It's
just
getting that right with the dumbbells.
And then I go into triple extension. Then I work on that partial squat. Then I work on quickly getting under. And then lastly, I put it all together. So let's make our way to the floor for the last time. That thread the needle.
Child's pose.
Rotation. So that concludes our barbell portion. For the remainder of the workout, we'll be using our dumbbells, the resistance band, and we'll use the bench as well. And we'll switch between working our hips and our back and shoulders. So we have another 3, 2, 1, and there you have it. That was round 1, all done and completed. 2 new rounds of work coming up next. And for that, I've got my dumbbells here, and then we'll pair that with a body weight movement. For our first movement, it'll be a lower body one, and we're going into our dumbbell side lunge. So I'm going to step out to the side and then back to the center, and I'm going to keep working the same direction for 6 reps. So it'll be 6 reps going one direction, and then you'll switch. 6 reps going the other, and you'll have a minute to complete your reps. The next movement we have will be a body weight movement. Be very careful, get the weights off to the side. For that, we practice the push-up plus at the beginning of our workout to activate. And this time we'll be in our full plank position. So just like before, we're gonna drop down, just letting that motion happen at the shoulder girdle. And then once I'm in that plus position, pushing away, I'm gonna push my hips back. So it'll be a push-up plus with a down dog. That's what we have next, push-up plus with a down dog. So again, it'll be working our dumbbell side lunge and then right into that push-up plus with a down dog. You will have a minute to complete each one. So let's go ahead and get started. For reference, I'm using my 25-pound dumbbells here. If it's tough going with 2 dumbbells, you can always go with 1 dumbbell. And the way I like to hold it, whatever leg is stepping out, my opposite hand will hold the weight, and then it'll be right outside of my hip when I return. So from the hip, right here, inside of the knee, and then right outside of the hip again. All right, if you're going with 2, go with me. We have 6 reps to get through. We'll go in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So working on that lateral hip strength and stability. So with each rep, I'm focusing on getting a little bit more comfortable with that depth and range of motion. This is number 5. Last one. I'm also working my back the whole time too, my back and shoulders. We're going to the other side, left side in 3, 2, and 1. Drive back to the center. So I'm stepping out, controlling that weight, and then driving right back to the center. We have 2 left. And then our last one. Good, I'll set the weights to the side. And then we have 8 reps with our push-up plus. So meet me down there now. We gotta go. So from this position, I drop my chest towards the floor. I push away, and then keep driving away, and then push yourself back. So reset. Drop down, press away. When you're in that pressed away position, that's when you go into that down dog. So drop through, press, and then pike back. Elbow straight, drop down, press away, and then pike back. We've got 4 more. So this one's good for the core, interior. Getting the shoulders as we press our hips back towards the wall behind us. Great for shoulder stability. Last one. And good. All right, so we have about 15 seconds left in the remainder of the minute. And then we'll be on set number 2. If this is your second time seeing this video, you will perform this same weight, but for 4 sets. So you'll be adding on an extra set to this. All right, we go together in 3, 2, and 1. So I'm stepping out. When I get to my other leg, when I switch, I'll show you that motion from the side so you can see what the posture looks like. Last one, and I'll turn this way, stepping out to the side, and then back. So you can see I'm not letting my dumbbells get away from my body. I'm still trying to keep that weight right in line with my midfoot. You're more than welcome to use that 1 dumbbell if you'd like, or body weight. And I think that was 6, but there's 1 for good luck. All right. Taking it down to the floor. Allow for about 15 seconds left before we get into that push-up plus. If it's hard to be in that full push-up position, you can go back to this version, and I'll do that with you and show you what that's like. So it's that modified push-up we did earlier, and then you can still, if you're working on it, try and do that pike. So to break it down, it can be a modified push-up plus, and then you can still work on that down dog as well. Pressing down, pressing away, keeping the shoulders protracted as I pike the hips back. So just break it down into smaller chunks, and then eventually you pull it all together. So it's one nice smooth motion. Knees up, hips back, still pressing away actively through the ground. Here's my last one. So hips forward, I drop down, press up, lift the knees, and then hips go back. All right. Last set with our dumbbells. For our side lunge, we'll go in 3, 2, 1.
Cincinnati just beat Buffalo. They are looking pretty good.
And then back to the center.
I'm gonna do these. Don't like these.
That's always
Do
nice
not like these.
Outside directional movements like this
Stay
one.
in position.
We'll take it to the other side and begin. You always want to be in control of your weight. It's good practice. One more. And back to the center. Carefully put the weights down. That means put them down with a flat back. We'll have have 15 seconds before we start on our last round of the push-up plus the down dog. I'm just going to move these weights out of the way. You'll go in 3, 2, 1, and begin. So elbow straight, I drop down, push my shoulder blades apart, and then I drive my hands into the ground. So I'm actively spreading my fingers and pushing the ground away. So drop down, press away, and I keep pressing as my hips go back. One of the compensations we see with this one are the hips sagging from that plank position. So remember, start off in that strong plank, peg the hips back, and then return to that strong neutral position. 2 more. The last one, our second round of work. If you need more time, you've got it. You have about 10 seconds to go to finish off your reps. Whew. It's getting crazy in here. All right. Okay, I'm ready for round number 3 with you. And for that, we have our 2 new movements. And before we get started, you'll need your bench. And then I've got those 2 loop bands, 1/4 inch in thickness, but the blue one is heavier in resistance than the red one. And then I've got one of those dumbbells from earlier. So this will be my 25-pound dumbbell that I have here. So you will do the first movement. It'll be a hip thrust. The hip thrust will be on the bench. And for that, easiest way to get into it, I have lower part of my shoulder blades against the bench here. And then I'm looking forward. So from here, my feet are flat on the floor. When my hips come up, I'm going to keep that posterior tilt of my hips. So I'm thinking about scooping my hips under. So I'm not coming all the way up into this extended position. I want it to just stay in my glutes and hamstrings. So I think more about that scoop of the hips as my eyes gaze forward. So it's a hip thrust with a hip scoop. Hip thrust with a hip scoop. And that'll help me engage my glutes and hamstrings and help me take it off of my lower back. So if our head goes straight up and we go all the way up as high as we can, we want to do that a little bit more in our lower back, and we want to just isolate the glute and hamstring. So when my hips do come up, I scoop my hips. You see I have a little bit of flexion here, but my shins are vertical to the ground. That's where you want to be. What you don't want your feet too far back behind the knees. You want them right there. You have options. You can go body weight. You also can have a dumbbell at your hips. Same thing, eyes going straight ahead, gazes forward. I scoop my hips under and I go back down. So it'll be for 8 reps if this is your first time watching this, and then it'll be 10 reps if this is your second time. The other option, if you don't have a bench, you can go with your feet elevated on a chair if you'd like, or you can have them flat on the floor. Same thing, I'm just focusing on scooping my hips under and going back down. So focusing on that posterior tilt. So it's a smaller range of motion than just going for that full extended hip thrust. So I'm just focusing on that tilt.
That's how we're
So that's
getting
an
it.
option. If you don't have a bench, you could use a chair, or you could be on the floor as well, doing the same thing. Just focusing on that scoop. Second movement you will do, I'll take my loop bands here, and I'll start with the red one. I'll put it around my feet. I'm going to have my forearms vertical to the floor, and then from here, I'm nice and tall, and then I come up with my hands into this Y press. So this is our seated Y press with our loop band. That'll be for 8 reps. And then it'll be for 10 if this is your second time watching that. All right, that'll be for 3 sets, and then let's go ahead and get into position. So I just made you stand up. I'm gonna make you sit back down again. All right, just like before, you have a minute to complete your reps here, and we'll go together in 3, 2, 1, and begin. I'm looking forward, scooping my hips under, I come back down. So I'm not completely resting at the bottom of this movement. I'm keeping tension in my legs. That gaze forward is going to help my neck as well. So I'm keeping that chin tuck the whole time. I've got 2 more here. Last one. to the side. If you've ever done this with a barbell as well, if you have experience with that, you can make it a barbell hip thrust if you'd like. All right, we still have about 15 seconds left. Again, I just stood up, but really, you can just keep it on the floor the whole time. I'll start off with this red band. I'm wrapping it around the arches of both feet, and I go ahead, get my elbows back. I'm up nice and tall, and we'll go in 3, 2, 1 with 8 presses. So this is our external rotation Y press. And the band is in front of my chin at the bottom of the movement, and then at the top, I pull my hands back. Last one here. And relax. Since it is a resistance band, you have that accommodating resistance. What you don't want to do is snap the hands back to that starting position. You really want to control it out and control it back in. All right, we're already on the floor. We're not going to make the mistake of standing up and getting back down. I'll do this set without
I did.
weight. We'll go together in 3, 2, and 1. So chin is tucked. I'm looking straight ahead. If this feels uncomfortable for you, you can try those other options where your torso is on the floor. I'm going with about a 2 to 3 second squeeze at the top. Really focusing on that posterior tilt, and then I'm back down. All right, that was 8 reps there. I'll show you this one from the side so you can see what that looks like. I'll keep it with that red band. So you can see what my torso looks like as I'm pressing. My arms are back. We'll go in 3, 2, 1, and elbows vertical to the floor, and then we press up and separate at the top. That side of the shoulders at the bottom.
It's a lot harder than backwards.
As you press back, you want to lean back with as much just happening at shoulders. A rest. Torso stabilized. Last one. So that was a great motion or a great movement for scapular stability at the top. That band's going to want to pull you forward, and you have to press up and back. You want that arm right in line with your ear there. This will be our last set for this. So again, bottom of my shoulder blades touching the bench. Stay looking straight ahead, and we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. So scooping up and then right back down. Scoop and then set it down.
Oh, she's got to wait. I didn't do the weight. Man. Do that later.
Press the feet down, scoop the hips. But what I'm not doing, I'm not pushing myself back. That's going to make you feel like the bench is going to start moving. You really do just want to go drive the feet down. Hips will come up. But again, you're not fully extended. You're about right here with that hip tilt and back down. What you don't want to do, you don't want to push back. And that'll make your bench feel like it's moving. All right, last one here for 8 reps. I'm going to bump it up with my blue band. We'll go in 3, 2, and 1. Oh, I feel that now. All right, you can also bring the feet closer together to take off some of that resistance. If you have the red band and you want to make it harder, you can spread the feet a little bit more. Nice and tall, press up and away, and back down. All right.
Yeah, I think I need to do
That is
that
a
one
wrap
again.
on our 3 rounds of work. Next up, we have a little cool down for you. So
Cool
you'll
it
join me
down.
with just one movement to cool it down. And we'll actually go with some hip circles. So I'll show you this from the side. I'm on all fours here. I'll go ahead and extend my hip and then I'll bring it out and around, and I'll come back to the center. And then I'll reverse the movement out, up, and then back down. So I'm just going to stay here on this side for 5 reps. Bring out, rotate, back in. And as I'm doing this, I'm focused on just making sure that motion is happening at the hip and I'm not lifting up or rotating to make sure that happens. All right, I'll go ahead and switch sides now. So sometimes I like to put my hand behind my back and just make sure, just isolating the spots I need to. Just easy hip circles here. Don't force it or rush it. The hardest part of your workout is done, so this should just feel nice and easy. You don't have to overthink this part. And good. From there, we'll go ahead and get our hips back for our child's pose. And then we'll go ahead and bring it forward. So we'll go with just some rocking here before we hold it down for some slow breaths. We'll go with 2 more. And just last one here. And with this, we'll just hold it. And you can sink your head lower to the floor if you'd like.
Oh, feels good.
And then from there, just go ahead and take some deep breaths, really expanding 3-dimensionally. For 10 seconds there. And reset back to the start. All right, job well done on that workout. Remember, if you want to get those carbohydrates in, replenish those glycogen stores. We lifted heavy weight, so it's also important to get that protein in, repair that muscle. And then I'm sweating like crazy now, so you want to rehydrate. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Marcia.